Welcome back to the Sovereign Renaissance. Now, in today's video, we're going to be looking at the seven dark agreements you never knew you signed up for. In spiritual warfare, the Jezebel spirit is often analyzed as a blueprint for psychological and spiritual control. The Jezebel Pact refers to a series of subtle, often subconscious agreements where an individual yields their personal sovereignty to a dominating force or archetype. The insidious architecture of the Jezebel Pact, tracing how unspoken psychic contracts render individual autonomy to archetypal dominance. By mapping the seven specific energetic tethering points, we expose the mechanics of spiritual subjugation. We dismantle these invisible bindings to restore the fractured sovereignty buried beneath layers of systematic manipulation. Here are the seven forbidden agreements frequently associated with this dynamic. Number one, the trade of autonomy for security. This agreement occurs when a person chooses their safety of being controlled over the risk of being free. By allowing another entity or person to make all vital decisions, the individual enters a pact that trades their willpower for a false sense of protection. Number two, the agreement of emotional enmeshment. In this pact, the individual agrees to mirror the emotions and needs of the dominant force. Their own feelings are suppressed or labeled as wrong, creating a psychic tether where the victim cannot distinguish their own desires from those of the controller. Number three, the covenant of false validation. This agreement is seeking to identify through the approval of the Jezebel figure, the main figure. The agreement states, I am only worthy if I am serving the vision of the dominant. This effectively binds the individual's self-worth to a source outside of themselves. Number four, the vow of perpetual secrecy. The dominating force thrives in the dark and in the shadow. This pact is an agreement to keep the inner workings of the relationship or group hidden from outsiders. By agreeing to stay silent about unhealthy dynamics, the individual isolates themselves from external truth and perspective. Number five, the sacrifice of intuition. The Jezebel archetype often gaslights the target into doubting their own reality. This agreement, this forbidden agreement, is the moment an individual decides to trust the dominant force narratives over their own gut feelings or spiritual discernment. Number six, the pact of competitive sabotage. In larger dynamics, this involves agreeing to tear down others in order to stay in the good graces of the dominant power. By participating in marginalization of peers, the individuals becomes legally and spiritually tied to the same destructive patterns they are victimized by. And lastly, number seven, the acceptance of divine proxy. This is perhaps the most binding agreement out of all, believing that the dominant force is the only gateway to spiritual power or truth. By accepting a human or entity as a mandatory mediator, the individual effectively serves their own direct connection to the source, or to their higher self. Breaking the pact. Breaking these agreements usually requires a conscious revocation. In many traditions, this is done by identification, calling the agreement by its true name. For example, I recognize my fear has become a contract. Renunciation, formally stating that the agreement is null and void. C, or number three, reclaiming the will, taking a small independent action that contradicts the previous forbidden rules. The provocative challenge. Your free will might be an illusion sustained by a contract you never realized you signed. A sophisticated architecture of spiritual dominance designed to siphon your autonomy through seven specific energetic tethers. If you feel an invisible weight stalling your identity, it is time to identify the exact mechanics of your subjugation and reclaim your fractured sovereignty. If you liked today's video, please do like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, goodbye.